lot has changed lately, but at CHRISTUS Health, our commitment to safely caring for Northeast Texas is stronger than ever. We are answering the call to help our community. We are having more appointments online and over the phone. We are maintaining separate areas for COVID-19 patients. We are leading the way in technology and testing. And we are keeping our hospitals and emergency rooms safe so that when you need care,
we are here.
We're here.
We are here.
We are ready.
My name's Liz Ballard. I'm the Executive Director of the Texas Rose Festival and also the Tyler Rose Museum. I have been involved in this capacity since the spring of 2014. So prior to that, I'd volunteered probably beginning about 08 or 09. As COVID has taken front seat in this year's business, it has unfortunately caused us to have to postpone our 2020 festivities until 2021. However, we have a beautiful group. We've acquired the group with the anticipation that we would have our July event and our October events, but everything's going to remain in place and push forward. I think this virtual presentation is a true gift where we can share what the festival has to offer for our city, how it's an opportunity to bring everybody together for the parade. It's just a city celebration and representing Rose City Strong. And we hope that all of you watching will take the time to enjoy, learn, see what the festival has to offer and how rich its history is that dates back in the early 1930s.
Texas Bank and Trust is proud to sponsor the history of the Rose Festival.
My name is Tom RAMEY III. My grandfather was president of the Rose Festival. My father was president, and so was I. My mother was a queen, my sister was a queen, and my daughter was a queen. So a long history. To understand roses, you got to go back in time, and that is to the fruit called the peach. Long before Georgia or Atlanta grew a single peach or could spell the word peach, Tyler and Smith County were the capital of peaches for the whole United States. Not only was the soil perfect for peaches here, but also we had something called a railroad. And we could get peaches in 48 hours from the moment they're picked to the East Coast. It was called the Tyler Tap Railroad, and it connected with other railroads throughout the country. In the year 1900, there were 1 million peach trees reportedly in Smith County. This is a county where the population was 20,000 people. There were 1 million peach trees. In 1910, 900 trainloads of peaches were shipped from Tyler to the East Coast alone of the United States. So peaches were a huge deal here. And then something really difficult happened. In the early 1920s, a disease came to town. It was called San Jose scale. And in a matter of weeks, 1 million peach trees were dead. It was an economic tsunami for this community. America had just come out of World War I. This was before the Depression, which would be 7 or 8 years later. But there was a great sense of optimism in the country. And then this happens to Tyler, Texas. But like in all difficult times, entrepreneurs rise to the top. And some of these wonderful nurserymen discovered that the same soil that was great for peaches was also perfect for roses. So you had literally thousands of acres in East Texas that were not being used, that suddenly had a reason to exist. The very same soil, it was perfect for roses, and San Jose scale does not touch a rose. So in a matter of very short 2 to 3 years, the rose industry in East Texas literally explodes because all this land was waiting to be used that could not be used for peaches. By 1932, there were 150 different nurserymen with huge plots of land. And what were they doing? growing roses. 1950s, the rose growers discovered that the future was, the Tyler rose growers discovered that the future was not in growing roses, because growing roses means spraying. Actually, it rains too much here, because roses don't need much water in the early days. It takes 2 years to grow a commercial rose. So these men and women who were such visionaries said the future's not in growing roses, but processing roses. 85% of every commercial rose sold in the United States comes at some point in its life to Tyler, Texas. So if you go to a True Value or a Walmart or someplace in Oshkosh or Hip Boot, Iowa, or Tupelo, Mississippi, and it's at your store and it's either in a sleeve or it's in a plastic pot, it was processed here. So as the rose industry explodes, America enters the Depression in the late 1920s. At the end of this period, and the world is coming out of this terrible thing called a depression, there was a World's Fair. Back then, there were World's Fair every 4 or 5 years. This particular year was 1933. It was held in Chicago, and the theme was A Century of Progress. Great optimism, the world's coming out of the Depression. Well, a lawyer from Tyler, my grandfather, took his wife and my father, who was 5 years old in 1933, and they went to Chicago to the World's Fair. And one afternoon, it was a Sunday afternoon, my grandfather was taking a stroll. Like anyone in Tyler, he grew roses on the side because everyone in Tyler grew roses. And he took a stroll and he came across a groundskeeper who was tending some roses. And to which he said, "Sir, those are some of the most beautiful roses I've ever seen. You must tell me where they're from." He said, "Sir, they come from a little town you've never heard of." He says, "Really?" "Yes, sir, it's from Texas." He said, "Well, I'm from Texas. Where do these roses come from?" "Sir, the most beautiful roses in the world come from Tyler, Texas." Whoa, as he falls back. Well, what an experience. He goes back and tells his wife and his son, "You won't believe what just happened to me." Comes back to Tyler, practices law, and 60 days later, he gets a call from a man by the name of Russell Rhodes, who was chairman of the Chamber of Commerce here. He said, "Judge Ramey, we got a problem. I got a women's garden club in my office, and they won't leave me alone. They want to do something special. What can we do special to tell the world about this city called Tyler?" He said, "Send them up right now. I want to tell them what I just witnessed." They came up. They decided, let's do a festival. We have no idea what we're doing. It was like a blind hog looking for an acorn, but we're going to do it. And they did it 6 weeks later. Their very first Rose Festival was in 1933.
Well, the economic impact of the Rose Festival is very important to this community. In fact, what we've done as a city is we've expanded the different venues available for the public to enjoy around the Rose Festival week. The history of our community is woven into the fabric of the event. And so really, it's not just now, just the Rose Festival, right? It's the entire week of events that really, we're making sure the entire community is involved in that week, and we can showcase our city to the rest of the world.
Each year, the Texas Rose Festival brings in thousands of people from outside of the community into Tyler, spending their money, spending their dollars here locally. I think the thing that intrigues people about this festival is not just the roses and seeing the rose garden in full bloom, but it's the pageantry, it's the dresses, it's the community coming together to celebrate something huge in Tyler. And I think people from outside of Tyler want to be part of that.
The Rose Parade is a chance for the people of Tyler to celebrate the area's beauty and heritage. But it is not just a spectacle for the visitors lining the streets. Next up, you'll hear from regular supporters of the parade about the thrill of being involved, from the initial planning stages to riding the route atop a parade float. We at Stonewater Roofing are honored to play a part in this annual event. We hope that when the parade returns to the streets of Tyler next year, everyone across East Texas comes out to enjoy the festivities. In the meantime, make sure you're staying safe at home by calling Stonewater Roofing for a free roof damage assessment.
Everybody loves a parade. So a parade can bring people from all walks of life within the community, from different parts of the town, and everybody enjoys not only watching a parade, but participating in a parade. So parades in general can be a conduit for a community to come together in one way or the other. We celebrate with parades, and that's what we're doing with ours.
You have people from all walks of life, all colors, lined up shoulder to shoulder along Front Street and in Rose Stadium to see this parade go by. And you can sense the excitement in the air. People from out of town, people from in town, they get to see the Rose Parade, they get to see the Rose Garden, and they get to see really what put Tyler on the map. And that is something magical in the soil that makes our roses so beautiful.
We always look forward to seeing the Queen and everyone that participates in the parade, really. It takes a lot of work to put all this on. It sure does.
Ready, wave. I wanted to be a princess when I grew up because of this parade. It's like magic to me. It's just a bunch of really cool floats and quite a few amazing dresses.
The Rose Parade is a combination of many volunteers and thousands of hours worth of work behind the scenes. So generally, we have different types of entries into the Rose Parade. But the main entries would be the court floats. And we have a professional float builder who puts hundreds and hundreds of hours into designing and building these floats. And the court, the ladies in waiting, the Queen, the Duchesses, they go on these floats, and they are truly a work of art, a functional work of art.
For years and years and years, the parade was led off with the float with the Queen of the festival on it. And the idea was the Queen would ride through the parade, everybody would wave, and then she'd end up in the stadium, in Rose Stadium, and her float would sit in the middle, and she would watch the whole parade. So it was like the Queen's parade, you know, that kind of thing. Well, one year she was running very late. And she was running really late, and we're on live TV, and my job at that time was working with the broadcasters, actually in the Rose Garden, was where they were broadcasting from. And I was communicating with the front of the thing, where's the Queen's not here, what do we do? I said, well, the timing is happening, we're gonna have to do something. So, and we just kept pushing that float back in the parade until eventually someone said, why don't we just put it at the end? And so we put it at the end, and that was the last entry into the parade. And what we realized would happen, not to compare it necessarily to the Christmas parade, but you know, everybody's always waiting on Santa Claus in the Christmas parade. Well, the crowds stayed on the streets longer than normal, and so the Queen's float was moved to the rear that year, not planned, but spontaneously, but they realized that was the better place it ought to be, and from then forward it was the last entry of the parade.
Hey folks, this is Jim Teeter at BMW of Tyler. This will be our team's 4th year to sponsor the Texas Rose Festival here in Tyler. It's been one of the greatest events that we've been associated with. And BMW of Tyler is excited to sponsor the Rose Festival Gives Back segment in this presentation.
As far as the Texas Rose Festival Association, we truly pride ourselves in being able to give back to our community, have an event that everybody can participate or play a part in, and when things go optimally the way that we like them to do, we're proud to be able to give back to our citizens in our community. The Texas Rose Festival, we're proud to be able to offer scholarships. We do a scholarship for the East Texas Communities Foundation. We also have an opportunity for 2 Rose Scholars that are students at the University of Texas at Tyler.
UT Tyler is proud to be a partner and sponsor of this evening's events. Now, UT Tyler is not new to the Rose Festival. In fact, we've been a partner for just about 2 decades now. But one of the new ways that we've decided to partner with the festival is by working with the planning committee to recognize 2 UT Tyler students who best represent the Rose Festival values for academic growth, dignity, and virtuosity. Because of their commitment to these values, we were blessed this year to honor these students as the new UT Tyler Rose Festival Scholars, and to offer these students full ride scholarships to the University of Texas at Tyler.
Education is truly important to us, to the association, to be able to help children or help young adults grow and learn and develop themselves and be very productive citizens and give them the opportunity to be able to fulfill their dreams in education and then hopefully come back and aspire to help our community as well.
Howdy, my name is Angel MONDRAGON. I am 18 years old, and if you haven't guessed it, I go to school at Texas A&M University. The Texas Rose Festival Scholarship enables me to study a degree in animal science, which in turn would prepare me for vet school. If I could say anything to the Rose Festival leadership team, it would be a big thank you, as you are helping me pursue my education and ease my transition into college. Gig'em.
We also have had the opportunity this spring and summer to serve at PATH in a volunteer capacity. Our court members have been able, since they've been home from college, and they're doing their remote learning, or were in the spring and the summer from here. We've been able to serve at PATH. They did some Meals on Wheels work. We also had 3 opportunities at the East Texas Food Bank where we helped prepare all the boxes that were given to everybody as they'd come through. And again, it is very important to us to be able to give back to the community and serve in a different capacity that can benefit.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Adams and I'm the Tyler Market President for VeriBank. At VeriBank, it's our goal to provide genuine banking for our communities, and we're proud to sponsor the Dressmakers segment of this presentation.
This year we are so excited to share with great enthusiasm Jacob Clymer, who is our new costume designer, scenic director and designer as well, and he brings to us an immense amount of talent. He is a Texas native. He lives in New York now. His drawings are meticulous. They're beautiful art. It's different than what we've seen in the past. It's a fresh look. Just, it's hard to put into words until you can see it in person. And we would love for you to enjoy this segment with Jacob and get to know a little bit more about him.
Greetings from New York City. I'm the costume scenic designer for the Texas Rose Festival. I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I went to performing arts high school and middle school and elementary school. So I was kind of always surrounded by the arts. My parents were also piano salesmen. So I also grew up around a lot of performing arts and music as a child. My passion for kind of costume design came out of starting as a performer in theater, and then realizing that if I designed the costumes and scenery, I could play all the parts and not have to be on stage, which was much better for me. So I began as a costume maker when I was in high school, and then went to college for costume and scenic design and graduate school as well. The designs I'm proud of late have been, I recently did an opera in Arizona about the early life of Frank Lloyd Wright, which was really exciting to kind of explore an architect on stage and a period of clothing that was kind of one of my favorites, being early American turn of the century, like 19-teens into 20s. I'm also really proud of the Les Mis I did in Dallas for the Dallas Theater Center. It was kind of a reimagining that got a lot of people kind of re-excited about that musical, which was really exciting. What excites me about the Rose Festival is the size. It's exciting to make that many decisions and have that many different fabrics and that many different dresses to kind of work on at once, and to make them all work together and each be unique in their own way. It takes quite a while actually to design the dresses. The easiest part is when it's just me alone in my studio doing a sketch, but but truly up until the very end, I'm having to make choices and do fittings, and there's always work. I always tell people my work's on stage. Everything in between is just how I get to my work. So the sketch is kind of early phase, and then fabrics, and then fittings, and then talking with them dressmakers. So it's really an 8 or 10 month process. I took inspiration for this year's Rose Festival, not only from the theme and working with the committees, but also a lot from kind of like late 40s and early 50s evening wear, looking at kind of Charles James and Dior and kind of these kind of classic designs, and then kind of turning them on their head to be something that was useful for the theme. So, you know, I would change the scale of a corsage or scale of a skirt to make it feel more appropriate to the woman wearing it and the idea behind the dress itself.
Some think the best place for cancer treatment is a long way away. We believe in the healing power of home at CHRISTUS Health.
Thank you all for coming. But this party isn't for me, it's for Tom, for all the rides to chemo. And to Joanne for the casseroles. And Sarah for making this hair kind of work. Thank you.
Treat your cancer where your life is.
Tyler Internal Medicine Associates is proud to sponsor the behind the scenes of the coronation segment of this presentation.
Well, we are all volunteers, and we all come together and we work together to bring this production to life. But that starts with the 2 people that we select to be our, kind of backstage coordinators, and then they each select more volunteers to then have those girls select other people to serve on their committee. So it is a very tiered event of volunteers that work hard.
Well, the coronation itself is actually a multi-year process. The coronation co-chairs are the ones that actually come up with the theme for a given year. So once they kind of do that, they work alongside Jacob, who's our, as you know, our scenic and costume designer, as well as a script writer, to kind of develop the theme and to come up with dress ideas and different groupings. Along the way, a logo is created, and that really kind of sets the tone for the whole year and what the show itself will look like. From that point on, the girls are asked to be in the court, and once they've been decided, then we kind of work to pair them with a special dress that they'll be comfortable in, kind of represents their personality. So we go through that whole process, and then along the way we also pick music to match each dress for the show. And a huge part of the coronation is Lynn RAMEY. She here is the owner of Dance and Drill, and her daughter Joy every year choreograph what the girls are going to do on stage, as well as the escorts. And so she's just a huge part of the show, and we're grateful that year after year she comes back, because that's one of the things that kind of makes the show work as well as it does, because every year it's new people and new volunteers. And another thing is that volunteers are also a huge part. There's hundreds of women and men that are backstage helping make the show come together.
We're so fortunate to have Susan Bracken, who kind of heads up the backstage group, and those ladies all work together to be right behind the curtains to coordinate with the girls and the escorts about the timing, and they kind of sit in a position where they can also see the live music and the orchestra pit and what's actually also going on stage. And those are also all volunteers who donate their time and energy into helping the show be extraordinary.
I think one of the more stressful parts of the show is really kind of the rehearsal part itself. There's not a whole lot of time to get everyone together to practice for the show. There's over 100 people that are coming from all across the country, and we have the summer practice and the fall practice, but it's amazing. It just goes to show how much the volunteers put in to kind of make this all come together at the last minute. And another exciting thing about it, but also nerve-wracking, is that it is a live show. And so, with costumes and music, you never know what can happen. But I also think that's what makes it so fun and exciting. And after this past year, I think it's something that we won't take for granted, being able to all be together in an auditorium, getting to witness, a beautiful show. I think what makes the show itself so beautiful is just seeing all of the costumes and all of the hard work by Jacob and the volunteers kind of come together.
The fact that it is a live performance also makes it so beautiful because it is in real time, and the girls, you can see their excitement, you can also see a little bit of their nerves, but you can watch them as they kind of evolve, as they come around stage and feel more comfortable and confident, and as they hear their friends and their family kind of cheering them on, you can see them just enjoy the moment and really get to experience the whole show for what it is. As we know, the logo for the 2021 Rose Festival is Secrets of the Garden, and so just imagine and think about all the secrets that a garden holds, and perhaps what the greatest treasure of our Tyler garden is.
East Texas Hearing Aids helps restore hearing loss and is proud to sponsor the Meet the Rose Growers Duchess segment of this presentation.
My name is Emily Milton, and I'm excited to represent my family in the city of Tyler as the Duchess of the Rose Growers for the 87th Annual Texas Rose Festival. I am a sophomore at Baylor University studying medical humanities on the pre-med track in the Baylor's Honors College. At Baylor, I am involved in my sorority, Delta Delta Delta, and I sing in the Baylor Religious Hour Choir. I am also involved in the Medical Service Organization at Baylor. My faith in Jesus Christ drives my desire to serve others, and I have enjoyed working with children at camps and on mission trips for many years now. My desire is to pursue a career in pediatric oncology and make a difference in the lives of children and their families. I'm excited about participating in the Rose Festival because my family has been involved in growing and processing roses for many years. My grandmother, Carolyn Brooks, is a founding member of Friends of the Rose, which honors the court each year with a summer luncheon. The first luncheon was almost 30 years ago when my mom, Lori Brooks Carver, was a Duchess of the Rose Growers. I have enjoyed attending the luncheon throughout the years, but next summer will be very special to experience it with my grandmother and mom as a member of the Rose Festival Court. The Rose Festival is important to the city of Tyler because it brings thousands of visitors to attend the events. My great-grandfather, the late M.L. Brooks, began working in the rose industry in the 30s, and by the 40s, he and my great-grandmother, the late Mary Emily Brooks, were growing roses as their own business. My grandfather, Robert Brooks, later followed and started his own business with my grandmother of growing roses and processing for himself and other growers. The Duchess of the Rose Growers position originated with the first Rose Festival court in 1933. Miss Dorothy Atwood was chosen to represent her family and the rest of the rose-growing community in the festival. The tradition has continued, and I was chosen to represent the rose-growing community because of my family's involvement over the years. It's a special honor to be the 6th Duchess of the Rose Growers from our family. I share this with my mom, aunt, great-aunt, and 2 cousins who each served as Duchess of the Rose Growers, and with my cousin who served as an escort. I am thankful to be part of such an amazing festival with rich history and special memories for our family.
Martin Walker Law Firm is proud to sponsor the Meet the Princess segment of this presentation.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Reed Walker, better known as Ellie. I'm 19 years old, and I have the honor of holding the title of the 2020 Princess of the Texas Rose Festival. I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Texas at Austin, pursuing a BFA in studio art, and I'm also a member of the sorority Kappa Kappa Gamma here. When it comes to the tradition of the Texas Rose Festival, my family has made quite of a legacy of itself, so much so I had to write it all down. I myself was also an attendant in 2007 to Queen Grace RAMEY, and also a dresser in both 2016 and 2018. My granddad, Andy Wall, was president of the Order of the Rose in 1989, and his wife, Diane Wall, has been administrative assistant to the president and chairman to multiple Rose Festival activities. My other grandmother, Martha Walker, was coordination chair in her past and also chair to other activities. And her husband, John Walker, is a member of the Order of the Rose. My father, John Walker III, better known as Jack, was an escort in 1985 and is a member of the Order of the Rose and has wrangled in his past. My mom, Andrea Wall Walker, was a lady-in-waiting in 1988 and in 2006 and 2016, coronation chair 2010, 2014, Order of the Rose Ball Chair 2016, 2017, Queen's Tea Chairman, and in 2018, Administrative Assistant to the President. Not only has my family been very involved with the pageantry and the presentation itself of the Texas Rose Festival, but they've been very involved with the volunteer work of it too. So they're also very much behind the scenes and want to keep this tradition alive as much as possible. So it's a big honor for me to be able to hold a title with their name to it. What excites me most about the Texas Rose Festival in Tyler, Texas is the fact that I get to share this experience with my friends from home and my family from home, along with my friends from school that are not from Tyler. I think it's something really cool that not a lot of people get to see firsthand, but just hear about, and the fact that I also get to represent where I'm from and something that's very special to me and my family. I believe that the Texas Rose Festival is a very important thing to the city of Tyler. This tradition helps with the identity of it. Whenever you say you're from Tyler, the first thing people think of is the City of Roses, and we have this wonderful garden that was recently named a national treasure, and the fact that we can do this in celebration of something that has so many years of labor and hard work put into it is something I believe to be so special to the city itself.
East Texas Baptist University provides Christ-centered education and is proud to sponsor the Meet the Queen segment of this presentation.
Hello, my name is Anna Grace HALLMARK. I am 19 years old and I am proud to be the Queen of the Texas Rose Festival for 2020 and 2021. I attend the University of Mississippi studying business, and I'm also a member of the Kappa Delta sorority. Our philanthropies focus on Girl Scouts and to prevent child abuse throughout America. We have had many opportunities to volunteer to work with these kids in many different aspects. Working with kids is a big passion of mine, so it's been a great fit for me. I have had 9 cousins and 2 aunts participate as lady-in-waitings and duchesses, as well as many escorts. My mother was a lady-in-waiting in 1996 and has also served in a variety of volunteer positions over time. My family has volunteered and supported the Rose Festival for many years. When I found out I was going to represent the Texas Rose Festival as Queen, I was elated. I was told by my parents and the president of the festival and his wife. Bruce and Mary Lauren Faulkner surprised me with the news. I was told that night I had to be at my grandmother's and I could not be late. When I got there, the Faulkners surprised me with flowers and a silver tray engraved with my name. I was so shocked and beyond excited. The Texas Rose Festival is a wonderful event, and I love the opportunity to be a part of such a historic event in our community. And it brings everyone together to celebrate our city and the rose that has put us on the map. The Rose Festival is an event that has a great economic impact on our community. It brings over $2.5 million by tourism, people shopping in our community, dining in our restaurants, and visiting our nationally recognized historic rose garden. I know that this year has been very tough on so many in our community and our country. I would like to encourage everyone to stay positive, be well, and remember to stop and smell the roses. We will pull through this together and be Rose City strong. I'm so proud of our city and couldn't be happier to represent Tyler as the Queen. Thank you so much for watching the festival's virtual presentation. I'll look forward to celebrating our city and the roses with you all in 2021.
Hello, I'm Bruce Faulkner, and I am the president of the 2020 and 2021 Texas Rose Festival. We hope you've enjoyed watching our virtual event. We are excited and looking forward to the Rose Festival next year. Please plan on joining us October 14th through the 17th. Hope to see you there.